I'm going to do this. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the general monthly tier list update for September, and I have great news. Not only are we going to do all the preamble and all that stuff at the end of the video and kind of weave it into the video, but I'm going to do this. Fantastic suggestion from a commenter. I appreciate it very much. Now you can read the legend. All right, let's get to it. And remember, go check the Illuminati out. The spreadsheet is linked in the description. You can see the playlist for all of the champions that we have listed here, but also you have links to the Illuminati themselves, and I will get the screenshot size up on my Twitter feed. Thank you to Misty K. And then also we've done the best 6 stars to rank 5 and the best 7 stars to rank 2. Those are different as far as the formula, how you're thinking about it, efficiently using your resources, who's available in 6-star crystals, who's available in 7-star crystals. This is just general, who is the best overall in the game, across the modes and all of that. It's a snapshot. Let's get to it. Now, there's not a lot of changes in this month in Mystic or in Mutant. In fact, there are absolutely none. We feel really good about where they're placed, how the champions are doing in the various modes. And so there's not much to talk about that. We'll move on to science, where we actually do have some things to talk about here. Now, the first is which is a promotion here with OG Hulk. Now, OG Hulk's been in the top shelf for quite a while. Remember, the way you get into these various tiers is like the most common question we get asked as YouTubers is, should I rank this champion up? With Hulk, it's a heck yeah, absolutely. I do not think he belongs in the tier above all. I think you could make an argument for it if that's where you want to put him. I think that's totally fine. It'd be like a fun conversation. The damage is immense. One of the things that is happening, keep in mind, is we're seeing 7 stars. Like I've had a 7-star rank 2 for a while now. So they are still often punching down, but when you take them into other modes and quests and things like that, he's doing phenomenally fantastic. And then all those debuffs, you pair him with Despair and things like that, he's handling a lot of like healing and things for you. So it makes a lot of sense to me. I get it. Silk is so incredibly strong that when I play Battlegrounds, I automatically ban her because I was unable to pull her from the 6-star crystal. And she is taking out, people are using their 6 stars, rank 4s even, to take out my rank 2 Sasquatch, take out my rank 2 MCoC very quick, very fast. The current meta in Gladiator Circuit, slowing her down a little bit because of her wanting to stun, but honestly, come on, like that is not that big of a deal. I know she's doing a lot in battle, in high tier war as well. And if you get her at high enough awakening, she's handling some healing for you too. I really do think this is similar to Hulk, where if you said, hey, she really should be in the tier above all, like she's just flat out the best across a variety of modes, I can't tell you you're wrong. I can't tell you you're wrong. The Illuminati agrees with this, and I think I just need to get my own. I really wanted to pull the 7-star, but I didn't. So moving on, Cassie Lang. This is our first champion who went through the rebalancing program for this month. There's one more. I know that I've heard reports that she's not as tanky feeling as she was before, but if you spec into Despair, she is still pretty tanky. You saw me do war fights with her on Hazard Shift, right? I don't know if I was the first one in the world, but I know it's the first one that put it out there, and then some other folks saw it and were like, holy smokes, almost said a bad word. She can take those Hazard Shift fights, those debuffs that she's getting on her really aren't doing much damage. She also is great against Mystic champions. I do think there's a bit of a skill desired need when playing her, but it's not too horrible. And if you get her, you can do some great stuff. You do need your debuffs to stick, so this is a little different than like Titania or something like that, but Quicksilver needs their debuffs to stick, Scorpion needs their debuffs to stick, Human Torch needs their passives or debuffs to stick, so I don't think we can hold that against her too much, just really a limitation. I want to make sure I bring that up. Moving on to the next champion I want to talk about is Photon. Now, we promoted her a while ago, and notice she has the spider emoji. Some people ask about that. It's not in the legend. It's a bit of an Easter egg. Some channel members long-term, or if you think about it, you'll figure it out. It's meant for fun, okay? Photon is a perfect champion for this game, and I'm gonna take a second to explain what I mean. I will be putting out a video this week on like how to fight her with some examples for everyone, because I know she's a tough fight, but she's designed to be a defender. And the reason why I don't think is that people have come to me and they're like, I think she's a little too strong, or do you think it's cheap? And I was like, and then I ultimately say no, and I'll show you in the video, is if you have a direct counter, you can just shut her down. It can happen. And then if you don't, there are a couple different ways you can play her, right? And you can still get around it. It takes a little bit more time. So in Battlegrounds, it's going to slow you down. Also, the longer a fight takes in questing or in war, of course, there's more chance of you making a mistake. So she's still a good, strong, tough defender, but there are ways to defeat her. And I will show you that in the video. Also, and this is why I think she's like perfect, is I've used her offensively quite well. She's not the fastest. She's not like the highest tier attacker. You're never going to see me in the Battlegrounds rankings having her in the top tier of attackers, but she's going to be in dual threats. And that's because tricky defenders can be taken by her. You draft her for defense in mind, but then if your opponent pulls a Falcon or a Mantis or something like that, and you think, you know what, there's a tough fight I need to take with Photon, you can use her on attack. And that's just Battlegrounds. Of course, you can use her in questing and things like that too. And you can use her in war. DLL has used his in war, not surprising, right? So keep that in mind. And that's what I mean by like, she's a perfectly designed champion. Not that she's the best champion, the most overpowered champion, the most broken champion, but because you can use her in a variety of ways. And I get why it's difficult. Like I kind of get why Kindred is not a great attacker. I think if he was, we would be really complaining about him as a defender. So I understand this. This isn't a slight towards anyone. Please don't read into it. Moving on to science, we have our other champion that received their rebalancing update in future AntMan. In some ways, it seems like it maybe even made him better. Definitely harder to fight, like tankier, that sort of thing. And also, when you are needing to hold onto the block with the glancing and that sort of thing, it's working better. Now, I've tried him in Battlegrounds against like a Doom or something like that. Doom has so much armor penetration that Doom is just like doing damage into you. You can't just sit there and hold block. So this still feels balanced, and ultimately, I hope everyone's very happy with that. I do think there's potentially an argument to move future AntMan to tier above all. I believe BMcG would agree with that. A lot of great BMcG videos on future AntMan very early on and telling us how good he is going to be. He does have some forms of power control there. And then obviously the current meta in Battlegrounds is really boosting his damage. Not a ton, but enough. And I think it's kind of shown you how much damage future AntMan already has without that boost, right? Because there's other tech champions who don't seem to be just finishing champions off in SB2s and things like that. Well, future AntMan can sometimes get away with that. I really do like him. I will say this, he's a little complex, like, and not in a bad way. He's not complicated or something like that. I think you want to get familiar with his playstyle, with the way his passives work, and when you want to throw them. Again, BMcG has some great videos on them. They are linked in this playlist. And while you're there, make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notifications for BMcG. Moving on to AntMan. Now, I just today, the day I'm recording this video, put out the OG AntMan video, okay? And he's very good. I took him to rank 5. I'll actually update this spreadsheet. I'm kind of wondering why it's not linked, but I'll put that, and I really do like him. Now, I would not have used my catalysts on him, but that's not a slight to him. That's just more how I'm playing the game. My catalysts are going to my 7 stars. But I was pretty happy to buy that 4/5 gem because I want him for Battlegrounds and fun. I like Tony Stark from the MCU, one of my favorite male character, okay, easily. He's very strong, he's very powerful. It'd be impossible for me to get the whole video into just a few minutes here, and I don't want this current video to take too long. Essentially, I think he's well suited for our current and ever expanding game. He's gonna handle mutants for you very well. He's got the unblockable protection. His damage can get going very high. If you play him exceptionally well, there's a skill ask. You can get even better damage, or like a quicker ramp, let's call it. Plus he has some little like nooks and crannies, little add-ons, little things like that can help him against some mystic champions and things like that. I do really like OG AntMan. Make sure you check out that video because a lot of people have him already. I already had him. So I didn't have to go out and get him. I didn't have to open crystals, anything like that. No arena. I just already had him. He's very unique, very powerful. I think he would benefit a lot of accounts. Let's go ahead and move on to Vision. I'm calling her out because the day I'm filming this, her buff is not live on the server, but I know a lot of you are going to see this after her buff goes live. If people I know and trust are to be known and trusted, and they are, she's going to move up. She's definitely going to move up. The question is how far. Also, I want to play it myself, and also the buff isn't live yet, right? Who actually knows? What if something changes? I don't know. But we will reflect that when the buff is live in game. Vision clearly can be very powerful, and the tune-up sounds like it is very, very nice for her. The AntMan Infinity War, I can see what happened is I actually made a mistake, so I will be removing that microphone. Moving on to the skill class, I actually don't have any changes there. We feel really comfortable with it. It feels really good. And there they are. I'm going to kind of leave the screen for alone for a second there. And then obviously, like I said, the screenshot size does go up on Twitter, so you can check that out. Let's move on to Cosmic, the final class. We only have, I think, 2 changes here, or 3 actually. So we do have some promotions as we get into that super premium tier. Again, remember the question is, should I rank this champion up? And if it's an enthusiastic yes. Not heck yeah, but yes. Okay. We've got Ronin and Nova. These are 2 promotions based on questions, comments from the last few months, and then also just our own personal experience, right? Like Mr. Omega was talking about Ronin quite a bit. And then we had, what was it? The Brutal DLX Challenge, and then now the current Battlegrounds Victory Track meta. These things do come up. Having a nicely ranked Ronin and a good SIG is really helpful. So many people use their 5-star Ascended, right? With great effect in the current Battleground season. So I think that shows he has a use. He is worthy of ranking up in this game. Going to help you clear content. Move on to Nova. There's a lot of utility in Nova that makes him worthwhile. He can obviously be a problematic defender, right? So if you're doing Alliance War or Battlegrounds, but then also can be a good attacker, especially oddly enough, somehow for some of the tougher defenders that are in the game. A lot of the tech champions, but then of course, like even like a Korg. So because of that, I think his value in the game has moved up. Nothing crazy if this is Battlegrounds. He's a little bit higher up, but this isn't a pure Battlegrounds tier list. It's just champions in general, a snapshot for you. That's where he's placed. And then we've got our final champion we're going to talk about this month, and it's the new champion of Gladiator. And, you know, I'm not going to wade into all of the Champion's Choice, Summer's Choice, and all that stuff. I get it. I get that there's excitement. I get that there's excitement for every single champion because everyone is honestly probably a beloved character of the comic books for anyone who's played this game. Gladiator is an interesting one for me. If I just go down and kind of look at them, like they've got all these various damage sources, which can be cool if those damage sources are really strong. But if the totality of all those damage sources is strong, then that means that even just taking away one of them means their damage isn't that good. This doesn't seem to be a strong defender. There is some utility there, but it's not like this is a utility machine. I do like the designer, right? We saw them in the interview. That's the reason why I'm bringing them up. We saw them on the Twitch stream. Really seems to enjoy the character and bringing those thematic things into the game. I think that's really cool, and that should be applauded. But I don't know if Gladiator's hitting where he's intended to hit. If that's the case, he will get rebalanced. I am sure of it because that's what we have been seeing. And maybe we as a community, because this has happened before, will discover some uses for him. He obviously, if you can play him at a very high skill level, like punishing those specials, can get you a nice damage ramp. But kind of like I just said, if all of your damage together equals very good, and they're coming from like 4 or 5 different sources, that means you just remove one, your damage is, you know, and in this game, you're often fighting some sort of immunity or defender mechanism or node mechanism that's not going to allow you to take advantage of all of them. So I think that right there is already kind of hurting him a little bit. All right, now that was the tier list. Like I said, we're in a really good place. I don't want to lengthen the video for no apparent reason. There was the legend right there. You can take a look at it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory once you're able to read it. I do appreciate the suggestion of moving the face cam over. And then, like I said, the way you get into the various tiers is essentially, you know, some jams are just broken, right? But essentially, it's if we get ask the question, should I rank this question up, which is the most common question, followed shortly by do this champion need awakening. That's how they get put in the different tiers. Make sure you use this as a snapshot, right? Like you've got to play that champion. The best champion to rank up is your favorite champion, not only because you will enjoy playing them, but also you're going to know how to play them well and get the maximum out of them. And then some champions are available as 7-stars, some champions are available as a 6-star. That's why I've done those 2 separate videos as well. It's a different way of thinking, at least in my opinion, and a lot of the Illuminati. Because while let's just pick a champion at random here, while Mojo is a fantastic champion, if you've already got the 7-star or you're going to be opening up that 7-star crystal that Mojo's in very soon, maybe you take up another one of your Mystic champions to rank 5 that's a 6-star, because you do that with Mojo and then you pull the 7-star Mojo, you might be feeling some at least a little bit of regret. I was going to say regretty spaghetti. Thank you, Cat Murdoch. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care.